Education it underpins everything. All progress comes from education. And for real change to happen, what we teach in the classroom really needs to reflect what's happening in the world outside. Community engagement is a way of connecting students with the real world. It's getting students to apply the knowledge that they learn in the classroom with the world around them. It's really central to a meaningful educational experience. It allows students to be inspired, be excited by real-world application. It moves students from theoretical information in the classroom to more practical hands-on learning. As an example, in our grade 12 curriculum, we study the novel The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. Now, this could be as simple as reading the text, analyzing literary devices, and then producing an essay. But we think it's really important for the students to understand the content in a way that is applied to the real world. So in this novel, it talks about neurodiversity, an issue that is not discussed enough. It's a topic that's really important for our students to understand. So, for example, what I would do as a first step is connect with a change maker in the community that is working towards this issue. In the case of neurodiversity, I approach our learning support coordinator, who's an expert, and get her into the classroom. And the students do a live listening activity where they interview her about her work and about neurodiversity. With that information, we encourage students to then create presentations. And these are presentations not just for the teacher, but we encourage them to get out into other areas of the school as a starting point and share with younger students, for example. That would be the next step. And then beyond that, I think it's really important to see what people are doing outside of the school in the wider community in Baku. What we would do, for example, is research people who are working with children on the spectrum and go and meet them, go and see what work they do in schools or places where children study. There's also a coffee shop that's opened, Kashalata, that is, as I understand, it's run by children or young adults on the spectrum. And so I would organize a field trip to such a place to see what people are doing to help create a more inclusive environment. I think having students get out and really experience kind of the learning outside in the Baku community or in the community around them allows them to really solidify their learning and understanding of the topics that are covered. It helps to develop empathy, deepen the level of understanding, and ultimately helping develop more well-rounded, balanced global citizens. A traditional classroom setting, it benefits students, of course, but it's not enough. Students need to be developing skills as well as acquiring knowledge. They can only really develop the skills through experience. So I would say that developing projects, like creating projects, it's hard work at the beginning. It requires time. And this is, as an educator, I'm aware that time is precious. Teachers don't have much time. But once you see the benefits of changing your way of educating, I think it would encourage educators to get children out of the classroom much more. If teachers are restricted and not able to get children out of the classroom, maybe they can bring speakers and guest experts in, as we do at our school. We invite people from, whether it be gender activists or people working on environmental conservation, animal welfare, whatever the unit of inquiry connects to. We really try to find those real world connections. And I think it's equally as important, it's more difficult, but to get the students out as much as possible. Whether it's, every unit is impossible, but at least having one experience per academic year, for example, where students are out in the community and they see what's happening, what change has been made. We're here in Azerbaijan, where we have a very unique opportunity because the country is undergoing such rapid transformation. There are so many initiatives and so many projects going on around us, and they're all such valuable learning opportunities. I think it's really important to harness those opportunities, but it's very important to develop mutual partnerships. By that I mean that, so for example, we don't just invite somebody in, give a lecture, and give nothing back in return, or work with an organization just for our students. It's very important that we're giving back, and that also that this interaction is beneficial for the community organization. And I think ultimately being exposed multiple times to different external experiences will eventually help students find their place or find their spark, their passion, something that they're very interested in, and hopefully leading by example, showing examples of amazing change makers in the community will ultimately inspire the students to take action themselves. You can definitely see the skills being developed in the students, and the sense of awareness, understanding, and empathy. And we see at school multiple examples of students wanting to develop their own projects, try things out themselves. And I think this definitely comes from their exposure to seeing other people doing amazing things in the community. It's a requirement of our school. We do require students to take action. Students may feel like, why do we have to do this? This is something in addition to our studies. This is something we're not graded for it. So why should we do it? But the more students are exposed and the more students have these experiences, they start to understand how important it is for their own development. You can find connections with anything you teach. And I don't think it necessarily matters what kind of curriculum you have. I think it's possible to find connections with anything. Through maths, through science, through history. It's just knowing how to take the learning beyond the classroom. And I think it's really important that educators understand how valuable these experiences are for students. And it will only impact and improve the teaching, because the motivation and the level of engagement will increase, which in turn will deepen the levels of understanding of any topic and ultimately be beneficial for the students and their academic progress. While the academics are important, it's certainly not enough. I think it's definitely important for students to understand that they have the potential to create change, and that it's not just governmental organizations that make these changes. It seems quite cliche, but they can be change makers. And I think it's important for the change makers to understand their role in education. And I think it's important to encourage as many of these amazing people as possible to connect with schools, to connect with young people, to help inspire, to help motivate, spark that passion, and have a long-term impact on these young people for the future. As I've lived and worked as an international educator for more than 25 years now, the past 18 years I've spent in Azerbaijan. I've seen the transformative potential of education. Education it underpins everything. All progress, all change comes from education. And for real change to happen, what we teach in the classroom really needs to reflect what's happening in the world outside. We need to be helping students understand and see the connections between what they're learning and the world around them.